Hi, this is Stan Sakai. I'm the creator of Usagi Jimbo, and you're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
Sounded okay to my end. All right. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Perfection. My name is Dap.
There we go. Yeah, that's what. Truer words. Hello, folks. Welcome to Two Dudes Talking Comics. This is 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 1046. We are a man short this week, which was a surprise to us 2 days ago, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll muddle through. I am one of your co-hosts, David A. Price, and hopefully with me is
everybody's favorite private eye, Mr. Ben Riley, a.k.a. Mr. Nick Cage, a.k.a. Spider Noir.
Oh, good. We got to talk about that later. So, yes, no, you are not Ben Riley. You are not Spider Noir. Nor you are Nick Cage, sadly. You are, of course, Jason Wood. Welcome. Great to hear your voice. Great to hang out with you for a little while on this lovely, humid as hell Thursday evening.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our boy's not with us, and he thought he wasn't going to be with us because he was going to be vacating, and then he realized he wasn't going to be with us because he was going to be medical checkupping. All good, though. Not to worry the listeners.
Yeah. No. Everything is
nothing unscheduled. He just didn't realize that there were conflicts.
All green, all thumbs up, but yeah. So yeah, and you know what? It's the perfect thing to celebrate your birthday with his doctor's visit.
It's true. Hopefully, everybody remembered to wish Vince a happy birthday.
Yes. I mean, this week was lousy with birthdays on the Slack. It's great. I love it.
It was. We almost missed a few.
We did. Yeah.
We got a few. A few came in under the wire.
We might, you know what? I wouldn't mind doing some birthday shout-outs in the future if we remember as the weeks come during that week.
Yeah,
but
it would be a good idea.
We
just need like a centralized calendar of it all, like.
Agreed.
So that we can like pull it up during the recording and read it off.
Yep. I'm gonna look into that. As we said, I'm David Price. This is Jason Wood. This is 11 O'Clock Comics. We are going to have a couple things to talk to you about this week, but first. As always, this episode is sponsored by our good friends at cheapgraphicnovels.com, where you can get massive, amazing, wonderful discounts on trades, hardcovers, omnibuses, absolutes, epic collections, manga, anything from any publisher, just about. The Slackers got a baker's half dozen this morning. I saved a few specials for everybody here, starting with Bimbo Agitprop trade paperback for $26.24. Bimbo Agitprop captures the reality of growing up in West Texas in the early 21st century through satanic panics, Y2K, a recession, abusive parents, shitty men, identity-centric politics, and woke, anti-woke pendulum swings. Reflective of the author's era, born in the late 1990s, of hyper-individualist oversharing of late 2010s internet while being firmly grounded in the unfiltered, handmade, radically anti-establishment art of the 1960s underground comics. Raquel Jack keeps her wounds fresh and open to both remember the past and protect herself in the future. At turns explicit, hilarious, profane, and defiant, Bimbo Agitprop is both an act of self-preservation and a call to arms. Jacques boldly embraces frivolity, bimboism, comedy, memory, and storytelling to interrogate reality in the 2020s, ping-ponging among relationships, psychedelic trips, good sex, bad sex, romance, and trauma. Her dense, obsessive pages read like a manifesto announcing the arrival of a remarkable new voice in comics. I was eyeballing this. It's in my wish list. I'll probably be getting it. I'll probably be getting it sooner rather than later. We also have DC Finest Justice League of America Crisis on Earth X trade paperback. This is one of my favorite eras of the old Justice League of America comic books. This is $23.99. Across the multiverse, worlds live or die in the Justice League's next move. From the Nazi-ruled Earth X to the metafictional Earth Prime, these landmark adventures showcase the super team at their most iconic. This DC Finest volume celebrates the definitive Bronze Age era of Justice League of America, headlined by writer Len Wein and artist Dick Dillon. In this volume, members of the JLA and the JSA from Earth 2 are unexpectedly transported to Earth X, where they must help that world's heroes defeat a Nazi regime that won World War II. But it's not all danger and doom, for amidst the chaos, the JLA finds time to save Christmas and attend an intergalactic wedding. Collects Justice League of America numbers 103 through 132. We also have Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre trade paperback for $13.49. A no-nonsense federal agent and a lone wolf cop chase down a brutal drug lord in a flooded amusement park swarming with blood-crazed hippos and cutthroat mercenaries. Disco Hippo Wonderland is the #1 amusement park in Flamingo City, but few realize its corpulent owner, Jean-Major Discow, is about to release the most potent drug ever created, Coke 45. Fortunately for humanity, Agent Clark Nebraska is on the case. She'll bring down Disco come heck or high water. That was the plan until her undercover agent Tico Senecoza was captured, and before she can rescue him, Miguel, Tico's sexy loose cannon of an older brother, beats her to the punch, storming into the park with bullets flying. Disco panics, dumping the Coke 45 into the hippo enclosure and letting them loose on the park before fleeing into Wonderland's tunnel network. Nebraska's plans are totally off the rails, and things get worse when a marijuana smoke-fueled hurricane drowns the park in torrential rain. Now it's up to Nebraska and Miguel to create an uncomfortable truce to bring Disco down before he escapes. And lastly, this is a special one. This is a shout out. Actually, this was a request from the man himself. Max wants me to let you all know about this very special pre-order. Stray Dogs hardcover near mint condition variant pre-order. This will be out in December for $24.49, available exclusively from cheapgraphicnovels.com in the U.S. and featuring a brand new cover by series co-creator Tony Fleece. This is also available in a limited remarked edition of 30, hand-numbered, signed, and remarked by series creator Tony Fleece for $99.99. Meet Sophia, a dog who can't remember what happened. She doesn't know how she ended up in this house. She doesn't recognize any of these other dogs. She knows something terrible happened, but she just can't recall. Wait, where's her lady? It's all coming back to her now, and it's enough to raise Sophie's hackles. Now Sophie has to figure out where she is, what's happening, and how she's going to survive this. They say there's no such thing as a bad dog, just bad owners. Stray Dogs is a heartbreakingly adorable suspense thriller from feral creators Tony Fleece and Trish Forsner. It's Lady and the Tramp meets Silence of the Lambs, collects Stray Dogs numbers 1 through 5, and Stray Dogs Dog Days numbers 1 and 2. Those are your specials from this week from cheapgraphicnovels.com. What are you drinking, Jason?
Yeah, boy. What'd you say?
What are you drinking?
Oh, I got a couple things, but nothing too exciting here. I've got Bubbly Strawberry Sunset, which is strawberry, kiwi, pineapple flavored seltzer. And I got a G0, and I got some water.
Well, I have a small glass of the 1,000 Stories I was sipping on last week. And once this is done, I didn't do too well as far as my eating today. So after this, I'm chasing it with a My Protein Clear Whey Isolate protein drink. This is going to be an orange cream. This is so
good. You crazy man.
This is so
Look at what
good,
Vince is missing tonight.
Seriously.
Strawberry seltzer and you drinking a protein drink. This is an endemic of what we've become in our later years. I don't know.
We're not old and busted at all. Oh, shit. Yes.
If only people could have seen the spicy supplement talk we were all having together.
That was great yesterday. That was the highlight of my morning. Oh, my God. Shit. Anyway, So we've got some comics to discuss.
For real, for real.
Anything light your fancy this week?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I think I mean, no surprise, the thing I was most interested in this week, of course, with bated breath, was the second issue of 100 Bullets, U.S. of Anger, #2.
Yeah.
Written by Mr. Brian Azzarello with fantastic black and white art by Eduardo Risso. We went deep on the first issue as well. I think, if I recall correctly, I believe I said as part of our soliloquy with the first issue that to anyone that maybe was like familiar with the idea of 100 Bullets but hadn't read it, but then they thought, oh, people are always raving about 100 Bullets, maybe I'll read this series. I posited after the first issue that it may not hit for those people, and I would say after reading the second issue, I would be absolutely stunned. Like if someone's just blindly picked, like if someone listens to our podcast and they know how much I love the series, but they never read it, and then like, oh, I'll pick this up off the stands. Like I would imagine if they are reading it, they're completely lost. Maybe you agree or disagree, but I was like, I closed the second issue and thought, okay, well, so much of this second issue is effectively about the reconnection of Loop and Lono, two of the central characters of 100 Bullets, and there's so much back matter in history between those two characters that this issue really hits hard if you're a 100 Bullets fan, but I'm not sure it has anywhere near the impact or drama otherwise. I mean, I guess you could read it and still understand that they have history and that there's beef between them, but I don't think just knowing that would have had the same impact of realizing like that these are two people that very much welcome the opportunity to kill each other if they ever came across each other again. So I was really like, so I guess the long and the short of that is that I thought that the issue was incredible, but I thought it was incredible because to me it is a wonderfully rewarding epilogue to a series that I'm passionate about. And I guess to be fair, they are marketing it that way. It's not like their marketing is like new jumping on point. I would say that all of the marketing has definitely positioned this as for people who loved 100 Bullets. So maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Maybe maybe not many people are bothering to read this series, but putting all of that narrative structure aside, I love the issue. I mean, essentially it's a bit of a slow burn, right? I mean, effectively it's seeing the white supremacists getting ready to show up to the funeral. It's showing Loop and his now ex-wife getting ready to show up to the funeral, and Lono showing up to the funeral. And all of them, have their own motivations for doing so. In Loop and his ex-wife's case, it's because it's their son that's being buried. In Madsen and the other supremacist in the racists' case, it's because they're going to try and pull a reverse sort of like mind game by theoretically showing up to the funeral as agitators but staying peaceful in an attempt to, I guess, make the black gang members that are there inciting them into violence and then catching it on camera and making themselves look better. Not quite clear on how that's going to work, but that's theoretically the plan. And then Lono's there because Lono just loves fucking chaos, and clearly he's got a bigger plan here. We're obviously the series is about figuring out what that plan is or unveiling it. But Lono, is an agent of chaos, is and always will be. So I really thought it was fascinating. It felt like it was very much putting chess pieces. The chess pieces were put on the board in the first issue, and then now some of the pieces have started taking their initial moves to set up, but we don't yet know what the end game. And who's going to win the match. And so, it worked for me very, very much, but I'm definitely curious what you thought.
First, do you think Lono is having his way with the officer?
Um, I hadn't thought about it one way or the other, to be honest with you.
Because knowing
I
Lono, that's par for the course with him, and she looks a little bit more worse for wear than she did when he abducted her in the first issue.
No, that's true. On the other hand, the little kid, his protege,
Right.
is still there,
Yes.
which
So
wouldn't
I'm
necessarily
sure.
stop him from doing something. But I would think if he was raping her, the kid himself wouldn't be able to like
Right.
stick
Yeah.
around.
And she is. I mean, except for her uniform being opened, unbuttoned. Like there's
Hmm.
nothing else is really indicating that she's been assaulted. But
Yeah, I didn't take a
well,
sexual thing from it. I think he might have beaten the shit out of her.
yeah.
You know.
Because her face is bruised. So yeah, I could see. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be a pattern for second issues tonight. I'm gonna have kind of like a second issue spotlight, more or less,
Theme.
because most of what I've read are pretty much number twos. But
Hmm.
yes, about the slow burn, I agree with you. This would have been a great like issue 102 of the regular 100 bullets, because you would
Sure.
have just picked up after it and just followed along with the story. But yes, we are years separated from the original series. This does seem to be catered to 200 Bullets fans. It even though it's the relaunch of Vertigo. This isn't necessarily this isn't the jumping on. This isn't the new series grab that End of Life and Bleeding Hearts and Ezra Dark is. This is based on something that fans will appreciate, and so if as long as you are, and we've said it before, but we didn't start with a lot of number ones when we started reading comics. So if somebody picks this up
That's
and
for
is
sure. Yeah.
curious, they've got 100 issues and a mini series if they want to go back and fill in some gaps, which I absolutely recommend you do if you've never read 100 Bullets before. So, but that said, I was kind of caught off guard when I got to the end of the issue, because I don't know if it's because it's black and white and it's so stark with the black and white, and so we don't have we don't have colors to kind of like help us either set the mood or do a scene change, or this is all kind of pretty much linear, and we're jumping around between Loop and baby mama, between Lano and the kid, and yeah, and the racists. It jumped around between the three stories, and we see Loop react to an appearance, and then he kind of just heads towards the church, and the issue's over. So it caught me off. It felt like a quick read at that point. I wanted more, and I was like, I was like, okay, well that was, and that caused me at first initially, my knee jerk reaction was, I don't know if I really liked this issue, because it wasn't treading water, but it just after coming off the high from the first issue again, and that's because it was a return, and it was setting things up, and like you said, we did go deep, and because we were excited about it. I enjoyed what I read in the first issue, and I was kind of hoping, that's on me, I was kind of hoping that momentum would keep. But this was, I mean, they're getting ready for a goddamn funeral, so no, it's not going to be all on and popping. It's going to be pretty much subdued, and I think both Brian and Eduardo captured that beautifully. They didn't they didn't set anything up where you were expecting things to pop off. It was there were a lot of solemn moments, even with Manson going and seeing his mom, bumping into his mom at least, or she bumping into him. There was it definitely, the mood was pretty much consistent throughout the issue. So I have no complaints about that. It was great to see more of Loop. It was great to see his for anybody who is familiar with these characters, his reaction to seeing Lano and the events that transpired with that shouldn't surprise anyone. It's yeah, I did enjoy this issue once I sat on it for a little bit. just realizing that it's just another chapter in what, an 8-issue series. Like I trust these guys to deliver, and no matter how I might feel about the second issue of something that's going to continue for another half a year, I'm whatever qualms I might have about this issue aren't going to linger. Especially once I get the third issue in my hands. But yeah, no, this as far as and again, story. We're only 2 chapters into a story we don't know the ending to, so I'm not going to judge everything based on this. But yeah, I just, for me, once I finish this issue, comparing it rightfully or wrongfully to the first, it may have been a little underwhelming. Is not the right word, but it's kind of in that ballpark. But as far as part of the larger picture, I'm fine in that regard. But yeah, once I read the issue at first, I felt it a little light, and it's also, it's not as wordy as some of the other 100 Bullets issues. So that probably also led me to my breezy like feel of it. But it
yeah,
it
I mean,
looks
I think
amazing.
this one felt like it was this one to me, much more than the first issue, felt like this is for the real ones. Like Brian was like, all right, I'm gonna give one for you got this is for the guys, this is for the people who are into the deep cuts. Because to me, like, this issue is super powerful for a couple of reasons. But again, as I said at the start, I think if you're not like 100 Bullets stan like me, it may have just not even registered. But like for those maybe who've read it a long time ago or don't remember or never read it, Loop is one of the central characters in 100 Bullets, but it's for, like, most of 100 Bullets is effectively a story of, one man's sort of quest to try and machinate things that are happening in the world, putting pieces in place, recruiting them by giving them briefcases that prove someone wronged them, and giving them a gun with untraceable bullets that allows them to commit murder of this person scot-free. And part of that is just to do that, but the other part is he's trying to recruit Minutemen, which are his operators, his agents that do his bidding. And he, in the original story, it's fully expected that Loop will become a Minuteman. He has provided a briefcase, and he is going to, he abides by the, like, he uses it as it's intended, but things go wrong because he continues to use the gun on some additional shootings, which effectively breaks the pact, and he gets sent to prison. Very early in the series, he gets sent away to prison. And so, as a result of that, like, he becomes a central figure almost in protest of the overall push that that's going on in terms of the larger conspiracy. And so what then happens is they arrange for Lono, who is one of the Minutemen, but he's sort of the rogue sadist of the bunch. They arrange for Lono to commit a violent crime that sends him to the same prison, with the idea that he would torture Loop in prison to effectively train him to be a Minuteman, which is a lot, and it's a big subtext of a long part of the book where, I mean, Lono fucks with Loop tremendously. I mean, he sends the white supremacists against him. He sends a black coalition against him. He tortures him himself. But then it's kind of like Jekyll Hyde. He's almost like training him in a weird way, because he's also saving him at points and mentoring him. So it's a very abusive, but sort of, but also it's an abusive mentorship of sorts. But what the intent is always is to get Loop to want to be a Minuteman. And I guess spoiler. I guess it's okay to spoil 100 Bullets. It's 25 years old or 20 years old. It doesn't work. Like Loop never really falls for it. But what does happen in the process is Loop becomes an absolute badass motherfucker, and he obviously hates Lono because Lono tortures him for years in prison. So there's that subtext. But the other really cool thing about this issue, I thought, and I don't know if you picked up on it or not, is to me there's a beautiful symmetry that we're seeing here, because this whole new series is effectively built around a civil incursion driven by our ever divided country, and we're seeing it from all sides, right? We're seeing it from the white supremacist side. We're seeing it from the inner city urban sides and the police side, and we're getting all of those different angles and their perspectives on the same events. But center to that is the murder of Tiz, who is, we find out, Loop's son. And remember that Loop is introduced to us in 100 Bullets because his father, Curtis, was a Minuteman, and one of the best Minutemen, and frankly, Lono's rival, which is another reason why Lono was all about taking on that prison sentence to fuck with Loop. So, like, to me, there's this beautiful symmetry of Loop. We meet Loop as the son of the Minuteman, and he chooses not to be a Minuteman. And that choice leads to him now, as we find out in this series, he is now not only a successful, criminal, if you will, but he's like the man. He's become like, he's the new head of the. He's elevated off the streets. He is, he's the new. Kingpin, effectively. He's the guy that's so high up that he rides around in limos and wears suits and doesn't get his hands dirty. And that's interesting to me, because the whole time in 100 Bullets was Lono's craziness and sadism and do anything he had to, extremes at any cost, to get the job done. And Loop's juxtaposition was never falling for it, like always figuring out a way to be calm and calculating to get through what he needed to get through. And now we're back to this situation where, is Loop, like, Loop punches Lono in this, right? He obviously that's how the issue ends. He assaults him before he's walking into the funeral, and Lono says, basically like, that's your freebie. But like, it's just interesting to me because like I'm wondering if we're going to see Loop stay cool and be the man that his father never was, or if he's going to succumb. And that's going to be part of the message here, is that basically if you're caught up in this world of hate and divisiveness, like you end up ultimately getting, we'll see. But I thought there was a lot of connective tissue to how we meet Loop in the original series and where he is now, having to deal with the loss of his son after being connected to the loss of his father in the original series. So there was cool things there, but again, I fully get that a lot of people either didn't notice or didn't feel as connected to that storyline as one might if he didn't read the series 4 times. So I get that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, listen, it is, as you're probably hinting with your theme, one of the, I guess, downsides to really all forms of entertainment. I was going to say comics, but like comics are, I think we also see a lot now with streaming shows that are, a certain number of episodes. I feel like we are conditioned to accept and view those transition issues, right, or episodes where it's like, no matter how much you like a Netflix series or a comic limited series, like there's always 1 or 2 issues where you like look back on it and you're like, we didn't need that. Could have tightened it up, could have tightened it up, but you can't tighten it up because there's a certain amount of time that content you need to create, content over everything. So I could see this, you seeing this maybe as being that a little drawn out, but I mean, it wasn't for me, but I understand, like, as I was reading, I was like, Again, it just depends on how much you really care about Luke and Lono and their
For
antagonist.
sure.
And if you don't care about that, the issue probably felt a little slight.
And everything is deliberate. Vince likes to remind everybody that if they show a gun in the second act, it's going to be used before whatever you're consuming is over. But I'm sure there are that what we see in the second issue is there for a reason. It's not, no matter how somebody may take it when they read it, if they feel it's more of a speed bump than full speed ahead. By the time we get to the fourth or fifth issue, something may click, call back to what we read in the second issue, and then things just make sense. So I have all the faith in the world in the creator. So I'm not and again, whether we're reading a comic or watching a show or a movie, there are times where as much as we might fight it or try not to do it, we're going to bring our baggage along. So if I was flying high after the first issue and then I read this one and I feel like I'm coming down a little bit, that's entirely on me. I'm not going to blame Brian for writing his story and it not catering to my whim. So I'm absolutely fine with seeing where things play off.
Sure.
It was just based on how amped we were with the first issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in my head, I was just like, oh yeah, it is going to keep the train rolling, and we didn't. But again, I didn't read a solicit, so I didn't know what the issue might have been about. So that's absolutely fine. It's an episode. It's an issue where we're all getting ready to go to a funeral. So there's nothing upbeat really about that. So not that there's a ton of things to be upbeat about in the 100 Bullets world anyway, but this was a specifically solemn situation. So no, it's still, I can't wait for the third issue. It's a series that I'm enjoying. 2 issues in, I'm not going anywhere. I'm in it, so it's I'm looking forward to continuing that. Let's see. One of the second issues I read was another first issue that we were all about, Absolute Catwoman. The second issue, this one, and again, it's apples and oranges. But this was fast paced. There was action. This did keep the train rolling along because after the events from the first issue of Absolute Catwoman, where we see Selina kind of living her life and being established as a cat burglar as she is, and then being reunited with Holly, a friend from back in the day. The second issue goes further into the relationship between Selina and Holly, as well as the other 2 members of the Calicos, who is Victoria Sage, and I don't know if that means that there's no question in the Absolute Universe, or we're doing a gender swap, and it's not Vic Sage, it's Victoria Sage, and Elena Bertinelli, who of course is the Huntress in the Prime or pretty much any other Earth for DC. So those are your 4 Calicos, and we kind of flash back between 9 years ago in Gotham and present day with Selina and the orb, the sphere that she collected in the first issue and is trying to now auction off because she's trying to get to the bottom of this mystery and find out who the hell took Holly, and she wants to get Holly back. The issue, of course, is written by Scott Snyder and Shea Grayson. Bengal, again, is your artist. Giovanna Niro on colors. Lucas Catoni is your letterer. And this was this again looks great. We find out there's a Selina starts off the issue on the Wandering Rose, which is a which is it's part of a off the radar fleet of yachts favored by a discreet clientele, like your mercenaries, your data brokers, things like that. And so it looks like Selena has like kind of a spot on this yacht. So she's doing her investigating. She's setting things up, setting up an auction for this mystery orb, and she catches a fish. Somebody bites, so she has to. She goes to Switzerland, where the auction house is located, and so there is one. There were several interested buyers, but there was one in particular that has met Selena's full asking price, and is then escorted into a private room where she is met with one of her former calicos, and that fills in some of the backstory, because of the even though it was just Selena and Holly at the start, Holly brought in two other players to kind of to round out this little group. One's a nerd with all the tech savvy you need, because as Selena points out, you could have all the street smarts in the world, but somebody needs to know the tech side of things. Somebody needs to be a wizard at that. So that's where one came in, and the other was someone who basically had no. She had a silver spoon. She was born with a silver spoon, but she's tough as nails. So all of them bring something to the group, and they worked extremely well together. And actually, one thing they did was broke into the apartment of a banker, someone who handles all the money for some of the richest families in Gotham, the Falcones, the Thorns, the Bertinellis, to name a few. And so they could either wipe out their bank accounts, and we're talking billions for the Falcones and the Crowns, and the hundreds of millions for the others. And we could either zero them out, or they could make generous donations to Gotham's charities, which is what Holly was leaning towards, because as Selena reminds us, that even with all the bad cards Holly was dealt, she's always been warm-hearted. So we three of the four Calicos pretty much reunite in this issue, although things really don't go according to plan, because the mysterious stranger, the mystery opponent from the first issue, returns in the second issue, which Selena isn't thrilled to see. And Selena does try to fight her, but that really doesn't go her way. But in the while escaping, she grabs Helena and Victoria, and they bust out of there. And we still have to find out where Holly is, who has Holly, and how the Calicos can rescue her. So the second issue had a lot going on. I was pretty much nonstop. I read it straight through. It's there's a lot to absorb in the second issue here. Aside from the art looking great, but the story Selena's telling us, getting introduced to other players. There is something that there's something I'm concerned. Not concerned might not be the right word for the orb, where it says that there's a key. It's a synthetic intelligence so powerful it can create an unimpeachable reality, and I'm wondering if this might come into play with the merging of potentially merging the Absolute and the mainline DC universe, if that's going to if we're heading in that direction. Because we've already had a crossover of sorts in the DC KO event. I don't know how much longer DC wants to keep the two universes separate, but each whether it's something like this, whether it's Brainiac, whether it's something at with Kate or Kale, and if anything related to Darkseid, I just every once in a while I haven't started the first trade of Absolute Green Lantern, but I every once in a while I'll read something that just makes me think that they are looking to possibly merge or have some sort of crossover event sooner, probably, rather than later, which what I would like.
Yeah, I'm super worried about it, actually.
Yeah, because
it's like, it's like I know you're not a huge, well, you like baseball, like, it's like if someone's pitching a perfect game, it's like, nobody in the dugout talks to them between innings. It's like, you don't want to mess up the mojo. It's like,
Yes.
you're all having a historic run here.
Killing
Like, don't fucks with it.
Don't.
Like, everybody's
man.
buying and reading these already. You don't need to get us to buy the other ones. Like, just do your thing.
That's it. Just please,
If you want to have the characters organically be in an issue, like they did with, one Absolute Wonder Woman and Batman, like, yeah, that's cool. Like, you could do that. Like, as long as it's organic but yeah, I mean, listen, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They're crushing it so far. It is still theoretically possible to have an event that's cool, but I really, that isn't like the jump the shark moment where 3 years from now we're like, remember when Absolute was just on fire and then they had the event and like derailed everything? So hopefully that won't be the case, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I really love the series. The only I think the second issue, I'm with you. My only nitpick, and it's completely, I mean, it is insignificant, is I don't love the costume design. I don't love the big dome, like,
Yeah, I can
glass-like
see that.
helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like Cerebro's meant
but
to stay
I mean, but
animation.
again, that's a minor nit. The series is great.
The tail, I like the tail, but I don't know. The tail almost kind of reminds me of Doc Ock's tentacles. Like, does it have a mind of its own? Does it? What is she doing to control
yeah.
it? How did it split off to save both Helena and Victoria? But whatever. But yeah, it's still a fun ride.
Yeah, no doubt.
What else we got?
I don't have this isn't a number two. Break the idea, but I did want to give a shout out to our boy, Mr. Fourth Chair, Mr. I go to every convention ever, and I go to every signing ever. I also somehow do every podcast. Don't know how he does it. Mr. Tony Fleece, because I read the wonderful, oversized anniversary issue of Feral number 25.
25, yes.
And I mean, the last time Tone was on the show was when we were all learning that Feral takes place in the same universe as Stray Dogs.
Yeah.
And the last, I guess, 4 issues? I think 4, maybe 5, but the last bunch of issues have been that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so this is 4. So where the Stray Dogs are also locked up in this CDC lab in the dog side, and the cats, obviously, of the feral cats are in the cat side, but they're all in the same lab, and it's building to a crescendo that comes to a head in 25, and I was feeling it, man. Like, the emotions were high. Tony did some really neat things, and shout out to Trish as well. Like, did some really neat things and sort of callbacks to Stray Dogs that I wasn't expecting. And at first I'm like, wait a minute, what? I was like a little confused myself, but then I'm like, oh, I get it. And I'm being vague here because I don't want to spoil it. But I thought there was some really clever storytelling nods to the original series, but in a way that made a lot of sense after it's unraveled. I was absolutely knocked on my ass for the second time in 5 issues by the cliffhanger. Didn't expect that. Doesn't I will say, as with all of the book, as this has been the theme of both of these books, not sure based on the reveal that we're getting a happy ending anytime soon. Um, in that way, it feels even more like Kirkman and The Walking Dead than it's ever felt. But definitely has me clamoring for the new arc in issue number 26. And I was really worried that 25 was going to have like a tremendous amount of death of characters we cared about, and I think they didn't give in to that fear, which I'm happy about. So now, I mean, needless to say, given the type of story, there have to be deaths. I mean, that's kind of the point. But yeah, I thought it was really well done. I think this arc has just been fantastic, and I guess the highest compliment I can pay it is that it could have felt very much like a gimmicky cash grab, right? Oh, let's bring the Stray Dogs into this because that's that was your guy's breakout hit. But to my eyes and mind, this is full. It feels fully organic and enriching to this. Like it to me, it feels like it really makes sense from jump. And if you think about it in that way, I give them a lot of credit for waiting for 3 years to even acknowledge that they're in the same universe. Because I'm sure people were asking that question from the very first issue. So all in all, man, thumbs up, Tone. Not that you need me to tell you. I'm sure your bank account is telling you how well you're doing. But I really thought it was terrific. And 25 issues going in is strong, man. Like, listen, we keep it real around here. When Feral launched, I thought, oh, this is cute, but like, it's a cat version of Stray Dogs because they needed something to do. I didn't expect it would go more than an arc or two, because like catching lightning in a bottle, right? It's like can lightning strike twice? But now, lo and behold, they're 25 issues into this new series. Well past where they went with Stray Dogs, and seemingly have plenty more story to tell. So salute. To me, that book and Kaya are the two books where I really thought, oh, I'm not sure, like they felt maybe like they were going to be transitional books, and I was proven wrong because this is going strong. And I mean, Kaya's going what? Kaya's been like almost 5 years now. That book's been going strong. It's like, and I remember when we had Wes on the show, I thought, oh, this is cool. Like he's going to do his own book after spending all those years doing Deadly Class. Like that'll be fun for him. But I did not ever think for a second it would last this long. And it hasn't. It's not only is it good, it's gotten better. I think both of these series for me have gotten better once they got their legs under them. And so salute to Tone, salute to Trish, and salute to Wes Craig while we're at it.
Yes. I haven't received my box yet, so I don't have issue 25. But after reading after reading 21 at the start of this arc, I wanted to wait until the arc was finished so I could just dig right in and either have my heart broken in one fell swoop and not have to have it drag out across months, or be happy. So I'm not sure which way I'll go yet. But yeah, it looks.
I'll leave that up to you to decide.
Thank you.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, obviously. Yes.
Oh, looking forward to it though.
Were there any other number twos that you liked?
Yeah, there was I did because it's a fun book. It's quirky. It looks great, and there's a whole ton of innuendo and sexy time things in it. Junk Punch number 2, by Paul Tobin, and your artists are Carlos Javier Olivares for your main story, and your backup is Lynn Visel, not Vin Diesel, but Lynn Visel, and it's the backup story was okay. It may be I mean, again with the puns, Tentacle Bjorn. That's funny. I probably enjoyed this backup more than I did the one in the first issue. Story wise, at least, I think I might have liked the art in the first one. Anyway, the the fun continues with our girl. She continues to get drunk. To Clara just she needs to think about things. Everything seems pretty dire because again goals are missing. There's a criminal mastermind named Silverhand who is who's sending assassins after Clara. So yeah, she's got mysteries to solve, and if she only literally looked up at the sign, the issue might have wrapped up sooner after a couple of pages. But we get to go on this journey with her where she finds a kitty, and this cat reminds her of her own cat whose name is Tube Sock because she doesn't have any legs, Lieutenant Dan, and she is just but she's still happy as hell. Again, so many panels are so filled with so much eye candy, and just you get lost. Like there's so much to swim in, and unfortunately though, just like our swan / goose / duck from the first issue that was in disguise, the cat that Clara finds is also an undercover assassin. And it's and every time she punches someone in the junk, the default is just like, why? And I just it cracks me up. This is a silly comic, but it strikes a chord with me. It hits me just right. I know it's only the second issue. I believe this is a miniseries. I think it's a 3-issue miniseries. I want more. I already know. I want more of this. There's a we do find out more about the missing goals. Clara goes and gets coffee, and there's just this world is so quirky and insane, and we meet Silverhand. We meet the person who is out or sending assassins out to get Clara, and she and Clara kind of seem to hit it off, and they enjoy themselves and each other for a bit, and we get a great montage, and which again is a lot of fun. Another assassin attempt. We get catcallers, we get swine riders, and then not all men's because I love topical woke humor. There's a lot to enjoy here, and we meet Pussy Catnip, and Molly and Tarp, and even though we were introduced to Tube Sock early in the issue, Tube Sock may have been kidnapped, and we get to see where, and even the last box on the last page. Oh shit! To be continued. I love this. I love this comic. This is just it's so not what I'm getting from anyone else anywhere else. So
it's silly, but like in a super fun way.
Yes, 100%. The cover for the next issue looks insane. Medium Cotton is on the cover, which is great. I am again still the Mad Cave love continues with this book. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, thank you, Carlos. I'm a fan. I am a fan of Clara. I'm a fan of Junk Punch, and can't wait for I can't wait for the third issue. But yes, second issue was great. It's just it's jam packed. I'm very happy with the second issue of Junk Punch.
As well, you should be. I mean, you know that I have been all about this Mignola life lately.
Yes.
I've been really enjoying pretty much all the things that he's been doing, much of which is outside of the Hellboy universe. But I'm really liking his storytelling, and you feel like he's really prolific right now too. He's putting a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I was really excited to dive into a new numero uno this week called The Foundry. And it's interesting because we'll peel back the layers here. I mean, I don't think it's just people know that we get comps, and Dark Horse is kind enough to provide us comps. And when I first pulled this issue off the comp spot, I noticed that the file name had BPRD in it,
Oh.
and I was like, "Oh, that's weird," because the book is not called B. There's no indication. The book is just The Foundry. It says from the world of Hellboy, The Foundry, #1. So it's interesting. So at some point in the process, Mignola decided to focus more on it being standalone than making it tied into BPRD directly. So that's interesting. But the premise is, you'll see why I think it was probably adjacent to BPRD, because it says, meet the Queen's own secret agency that investigates the paranormal and the mysterious. Characters from Witchfinder and the British Paranormal Society join together as they travel the world over, seeking out supernatural powered technologies and stories of the civilizations that harness them for good, for evil. It's written by Mignola and Chris Roberson, his frequent collaborator, with art by Chris Mitten.
Nice.
Yeah, and he looks real good, man. It looks really, really good. But this is super cool. If you are a fan, well, I mean, certainly if you're a fan of the Mignolaverse in general, you'll love this. But if you're a fan of things like Indiana Jones, swashbuckling, treasure hunting, adventure, that's what the vibe is here. We are introduced to a protagonist who is he's one of the members, as you might imagine, and we are first introduced to him in a mission that went wrong. He's sort of talking about what happened. They basically were exploring caves in Patagonia, linked to Patagonian giants, and the majority of his team gets, at least presumably, killed in a cave-in. But and then so he's like, kind of shows you where he's coming from, tragedy. But and this is his character's name is Captain Singh. But then it brings us to the fast forwards to the current, and he's basically doing work that he finds beneath him, and he's kind of frustrated by it because of what happened with the botched mission. And then just as he's lamenting his life now and how it's not it's just not as exciting as he once hoped it would be, he gets called back to Foundry headquarters to on an emergency mission, and that involves basically there's been a rash of naval disappearances in the ocean. Naval vessels from Britain and many of their both allies and enemy countries are all dealing with lost vehicles. So like a Bermuda Triangle type of a vibe. And they're tasking him with going to figure out what the hell's going on. So he hops into a badass, straight out of Jules Verne, like flying dirigible with like four, like it's all steampunky, and it's got four helicopter propellers. It looks great. And he and his crew hop in for this adventure. And as is typical of Mignola being a great storyteller, during all of this, as we're introduced to each of his team, we get the cool little like one or two panel, like just very quick, concise backstory. So we just get we get a little taste of what these characters are, who they are, what drives them, what motivates them, but without like bogging it down with like pages of like backstory for characters. It's just while we're along on the ride in interstitially little teasers for what they're about, which I love when that's done that way. And it's basically them getting to know the team as they head over to this area of the ocean, and then they do in fact encounter said said thing that is responsible for taking these ships down. And thought it was action packed. Love the world building. I felt like even though this is inside of the Hellboy universe, it felt new and exciting, but it also felt very rich, and I want to know more about everything that's happening here. And I just have nothing but good things to say about the whole experience, and I am absolutely coming back for the second issue. And I am curious because I do think we don't know exactly, like they encounter the thing responsible for destroying the ships, but we don't yet know what the thing is. And I'm wondering if it's not Captain Nemo, but we'll find out, I guess, because it could very well be. But I don't know that Mignola often. I don't know if he's going to go that route, but if he does, I'm going to mark out because you know how much I love Nemo. So we'll see. But either way, I'm intrigued. It was great, action packed, well paced, looked good. Kudos to Mitten. So if y'all are feeling for a little Indiana Jones, Jules Verne-ish type of a vibe, that is adjacent to everybody's favorite Son of Satan, then check out the Foundry.
I'm gonna.
It's fun, man. Real fun.
Series. Yeah, no, I'm gonna. I mean, I
That's
know
the other thing with Mignola, man. You know, like, goddamn, he's so good. Like, he does one shots. He does 2 issues. He does 3. He just fucking sits down and comes up with an idea for a story, and he does not give a fuck about, like, gotta write for the trade, gotta make sure it's like, he just tells the story, man. If it takes 32 pages, he does it in 32. If he wants to take 80 pages, he does it in 80. Like, I love that, and I understand he has the opportunity to have that freedom because he has no masters, right? Like, he has earned enough money and has enough of a built-in fan base that he can pretty much do whatever he wants, and I doubt he ever has to worry about paying a bill again already. So I understand he comes from privilege with that regard, but it's still, he's not the only creator that has that power, and yet very few ever break out of that, that mold. I mean, how many books have we talked about in our now fast approaching 20 years of doing this? God help us all. Where it's 5 or 6 issue story, like, and we just got done talking about how, like, the conceit of having to do these structured stories often can lead to bridge issues which feel like a little bit slow or a little bit unnecessary. And it's like, just tell your story, dog. Like, and I love that Mignola is like the only one I can think of that does that regularly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
what up with this Chachu, dog? I know you want to go all number 2s, but
well, I was saving that for my travels. But
that's your travels. All right, well, I can't wait to, because I realized after the fact that's Kamala Khan's book, right?
Yes, which is part of the reason why I wanted to check it out, because Iman seems very much a fangirl, similar to Nicole Maines, who played Dreamer on Supergirl and has been pretty much writing that character in the DC books. Not that I have a massive attachment to that character, so I haven't really been all in on whatever Dreamer's been up to, but I do like I do like Miss Marvel in the MCU. I know how you feel about the Marvels. She was a highlight for me in that movie, as was Photon. But the movie is what it is. I'm not going to change anybody's minds on it, and I'm not going to go into why I may have liked it. But she's similar to, I don't even know if it's in the same vein of, like, Rosario Dawson. Like, I feel like she likes the medium. She likes comics, and so if she's going to create a character or create a series that and what's funny is I'll get into it later. I mean, the series starts in 1979, so I mean, she's writing a character in a setting that's older than she is. So I don't know how much I have questions, and I may not forget the answers to them, but yeah, it's we will get to Chachu, which I found out means uncle. But
Unk and Unk talking about Unks. Nice.
yeah, we got in Hindu or Urdu, it's specifically it's your father's younger brother. If we want to get like, if we really want to be specific about things, but it's paternal uncle. Let's see, another number two. This one was well, before I get to the one I enjoyed, yeah, I don't know how I'm feeling about Bizarro Year None. The
Oh, I
series,
tapped out after
it's
the first issue. So
yeah. I mean, it's for one thing. I mean, yeah. Usually, you dangle the S in front of me, and my nose is
sure.
at least in the air, sniffing like a pie on the windowsill. But it still has to be good for me to stick around. And the this series, I knew Kevin Smith was attached to it. That's another draw, again, to a degree. And so Eric Carrasco and Kevin Smith are your writers, and Nick Pitara is your artist. Michael Garland on colors, and Pitara, I respect Nick's ability. I I dig his style in certain situations. I'm not really feeling it with this. I don't know if I'll be back for the third issue.
Hmm.
This is rare for me, but I may actually end up um, bailing on a series before it concludes. And it's rare for me on a miniseries. I have no problem bouncing on an ongoing, like Fantastic Four, for example. If it's not hitting. So, but this was I don't. It's just it's. I don't know really how to take this. I don't know how to feel about this series. It's set in a in whatever universe this, not the Bizarro stuff, but whatever universe this metropolis is in, because Jimmy's fairly new to the planet. He's not the cub reporter that he's trying to be, or that we knew him to be. Now that Bizarro transported him and Perry White to the square-shaped world, Jimmy becomes the publisher and editor in chief of the Daily Planet. Perry's pretty much been downgraded to Gopher. We find Silly Putty. Perry pulls out some Silly Putty from some drawer and lets Jimmy know what Silly Putty's all about, which is something that we haven't seen in. I mean, I haven't seen in ages, but yeah, there's just it's weird. It was even, and that's the other thing about Patara. Perry White puts on a fedora and a trench coat. Now he looks like fucking Harvey Bullock. I'm not. There's something weird about this book. I can't quite put my finger on it. And Bizarro is up to something. There's Jimmy's asking questions, and Bizarro isn't exactly forthcoming. There's his makeup seems to be coming off in spots because it looks like half of his face is white now, which of course we've always seen Bizarro with that kind of more crystalline like appearance. There's somebody who attacks Perry, and we do a flashback to 3 months ago where Lois Lane is interviewing Bizarro, and that doesn't go well for Lois, and so now we have to find out if it looks as though maybe it's the last page of the issue, so I can't say for certain, but Bizarro swoops Lois Lane up into the air and then lets her go, and which is weird. But I guess he was figuring, listen, if you love someone, set them free, and he literally did that. So, it's colors are great. It's the Pitaro and Garland do make a good team in that regard. But as far as the story is going, I don't know if I've ever read anything. The name does sound familiar. I'd have to look to see what else I might have read by Carrasco. I've read a bunch of things and watched a bunch of things that Kevin Smith has done, so I know he's talented. But this is just not. It's not slapping. I'm not feeling Bizarro to year none, unfortunately. So this is one of those number twos where it served a purpose in whether or not it may not have moved the story along for me, but it gave me a direction as to what I need to do, and it's probably not continue this series.
It's none of your business.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what that is. I will just quickly say, I don't want to spend more than like a few seconds on this, but Odin number 3, I'm baffled by this series. Don't know what the hell's going on. Dude, it's this third issue is bugging, dude. Like, I don't know if you read it, but like, it's just tons and tons of them speaking hate speech and misogyny. Like, and I know that's the point. Like, the whole point is that these, Aryans who have convinced themselves that they're descended from, like the Norse gods, are actually brought into, the Norse gods who are fucking with them, which is like cool. Like, that's why I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Like I'm here for that, But man, this whole issue was just like I guess what it feels like to me is that Tynion and Marguerite Bennett, the writers, who are both great writers and who are both very, very progressive, in their leanings, which, salute, I'm with you, felt real preachy to me in the sense that, like, how do I say, like, it was an interesting juxtaposition of reading this Ode number 3 against 100 Bullets, because at the core of this 100 Bullets series is how divided our country is and the perspectives of both sides, where clearly Azzarello is also hyper liberal, and so his perspective is going to obviously portray the one side in a very uncomplimentary way theoretically, and the other in not. But like, I think what makes Azzarello great is he doesn't do that. Like, he both sides are both human and flawed, right? And like, that is a hard that's a hard balancing act when you have strongly held personal opinions about stuff. Odin, which, like, after this third issue, I'm like, oh, if this were a movie, it'd be a movie that I would slack and rip apart, because my least favorite type of movie is when a movie doesn't know what it wants to be, and you can feel the director wanting to do lots of different tonal ideas in one, and it just feels like abrupt. Like, it's a comedy, oh, it's a dark comedy, oh, it's serious, oh, it's horror, and it's just like, bro, like, you can't, like, it takes an extremely deft hand to execute that kind of those tonal switches, right? It feels disjointed, and that's what I feel like with this book, because it's like, all right, like, you had me at the premise. I know that Tynion knows how to do a horror comic because he does a million of them, and most of them are great. I know Marguerite Bennett knows how to write some freaky books, because all of her indie stuff is freaky. So it should be like a match made in heaven, but it feels like they've spun, like, while they were sitting down to write it, they spun themselves up into like riffing about all the stereotypical things that Aryans would say to each other about women and their place in the pecking order and what they want to do to them and the supremacy of the white race. And it's like, it feels like they're like, I'm reading the whiteboard of them just going on a manic rant about all the nonsense they could picture these people saying, instead of crafting a story where we hate these people and then we see them get their comeuppance. And I think ultimately that's what the series is going to be. But I was like, dogs, y'all are like, it just felt like they were kind of like exercising some demons, but like in a very stereotypical way, where it's like, it doesn't feel interesting, it doesn't feel real, it doesn't feel like there's depth to it, right? It just feels like they are like, well, let's make these things these. It doesn't feel like we're reading characters meant to be nuanced humans who have perverse viewpoints. It feels to me like we're reading like caricatures of what we on our side of the ledger think these people sit around and talk about, if that makes sense. So, yeah, it is baffling. I love Cadonici's art. Um, I'm probably going to see it through because I'm already through 3 issues, but like, it is fucking baffling. I don't know. Like, this one's either going to stick the landing and I'm going to be like, yeah, they stuck the landing, or I'm going to be like, yo, this was an absolute hit and miss. This was an absolute miss. But right now I'm leaning towards miss because I'm like, I don't know what, like, man, I don't know. I feel like they're just, it's like instead of paying their subscriptions to BetterHelp this month, they decided to write out this comic. I don't know.
Nice. I did read the second issue. I have the third ready to go. I think I needed a break after the second because it's. Luckily, I mean they're there. The characters are there to explain like any sort of time jumps because obviously we read in the first issue that once they got lost in the snow, that time had passed because roots were showing up in their hair and nails were growing. So something's going on. The second issue was more of that weirdness, and there was the poem with the sacrifice, and it's freaky as hell. Like if they decide to, if this gets turned into something from Netflix, I won't. I don't think I'll be able to watch it because it's just it's seeing it on a page is one thing, but seeing these events kind of like acted out, or even if I had to hear things that these characters are saying, like that might kind of just give me chills. So I'm good with the comic version of this. I don't know if I could survive a live action rendition of it, but it does. I'm a fan of Cadonici's art. It seems to fit the story. But having not read the third issue yet, I do agree with your synopsis so far because it is. I too don't know what to make of the series. I don't know if it's a fun little project. If Marguerite went to James like, listen, I have an idea and we can flesh it out together. I don't know, but it's taking me on a ride that an uncomfortable ride, but and like you, I'm curious to see at this point now, 3 issues in. I kind of want to see where it's going. It's almost like it's a train wreck I can't look away from, and I'll see how I feel after the third issue. But yeah, it's after the first issue, and again, not that I should have expected any sort of direction or what to expect after the first issue, but I don't think I expected what I got in the second issue. So the fact that it's kind of keeping me guessing, I'll give it points for that. But it's not necessarily a book I can really describe easily or explain or tell people why they should check it out. It's not yet anyway. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's an interesting book. I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah, like let me read. I'm going to read you just a little panel to give you an example in time.
Yeah.
So, like because now to be clear for people that aren't reading this book that don't remember our prior talks about it, the premise here is that there's a bunch of neo-Nazis who are obsessed with the Norse with Norse ties to Aryan culture, and this is all a real thing, by the way. Like this is an actual sect of white supremacy that exists, as I was reading about one after the first issue. Like so they're basing this on some offshoot like splinter reality that exists. But the premise here is there's an embedded reporter with them who looks Aryan, but she's with them to basically write an expose. But then they get sucked into like this magical land, so she's kind of fucked because she's like. Now she's got to play along, but like she's also like, what am I going to do? Like I'm in the fucking place. So she says after the guy's going to rant about how they're meant to be able to rape and pillage and fuck any woman they want. She says, Christ, when did Tanner swap his mouth out for his asshole? Did he have to go through his PPO for that, or was it out of pocket? Oh, that's funny. It's clever. Okay. But then one of the actual Aryan women says, I'm not offended. Our bodies are made to make babies and raise them and continue the race. That's just science. You're not a real woman until you've had kids, and we're going to need lots of balance out all the anchor babies and welfare shitling. Okay, but white women can be leaders too. We're just as smart and capable as we have to manage everything when our fathers and brothers have taken from us. You're never going to get a decent man with that attitude. It's like I get it. Like I get you're trying to portray them as being like really like fucking out there, right? And lunatics. And maybe those ideas exist in their head. But does that sound like a conversation that like it just doesn't sound human to me, right? It just sounds stereotypical, right? Like it just doesn't sound like a conversation that two human beings would actually be having.
Right.
I was actually thinking like Tynion needs to sit down with Bendis. Because Bendis's greatest strength has always been his just ability to write like people actually talk. And it's not easy. But I was just like, that's just one example. But the whole book I felt like read like that. It felt like insert like it was almost like no, I don't want to say that because that's insulting. But it was almost as if like they were like random number generating. Like, what do Aryans say to each other? Like it's you know what I mean. Like instead of like thinking through like maybe like what these people where their perspective is coming from, and like it can still sound ridiculous and obtuse because it is, but it feels very much like what they think they sound like instead of actually trying to sound like human beings. I don't know. Very, very strange.
I get that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Number twos. Well, I know you read Mask number 3, which I haven't yet.
Yes.
And so we can.
And thank you. By the way, thank you so much, Skybound, for spoiling your own book on the day. It's released.
No!
I appreciate that.
I did see your post in our in the new comic book day thread, but I didn't. I figured I'd get the 411 on that.
Well, there's a big reveal, and Skybound's becoming known for this, right? Like, obviously, they have these big reveals of like characters, and that's cool. Like, I think that's one of the fun things about the and there's a yet another big reveal in this, which I guess I won't spoil because it's only a day after the comic came out. But there is another beloved toy series from our youth that has a long comics history that is now also part of the Energon universe. So, just like last week, I talked about Rom being a part of this. There's yet another that we all have history with that is now clearly part of the universe as well, and that's fun. But I was like, yo, I literally opened my email this morning and I saw a PR solicit from Skybound, like literally in the title of the heading was the return of this character, and I'm like, really? Like the book came out like an hour ago. Like, really? Like, and I get it. They have their job to do, but it's like, okay, I guess. So when I opened the last page, I knew what was coming. It would have been cool to have not known,
Well, then now I definitely got to read it because I didn't. I get so much email that by the time I start my day, that everything's already been buried. Everything I want to read has been buried by other headlines and crap like that. So I didn't see the subject line. Normally I see the Skybound emails come in, and the way my Gmail's set up, I'll read who it's from first before I ever look over to the right and see the subject. So I didn't see that, but now I want to read the third issue before I come across that email. But the second issue of M.A.S.K, Mobile Armor Strike Command was Matt reaches out to two maskers in Sweden and Norway, Gloria Baker and Bruce Sato, and because he needs their assistance in going after, looking for the machine that Miles Mayhem was trying to abscond with, and that's pretty much the gist of the second issue is these two, Gloria and Bruce, head underwater to find what they can find, and while Matt is also hoping to make his way there so he can come in with the assist. But a lot of action, a couple moments where we get some quiet time, but and a big boom to boot. But which I
Big
don't
Boom
know.
AJ.
I don't know if the third issue picks up right from there or if we're cutting to another scene and other members of M.A.S.K. So,
No, it picks up right there.
oh, okay, all right, yeah. I mean, I don't. I enjoyed Pie's art on Petrolhead. That of course dealt more with machinery. There were human characters in that book, but it was mostly machines and autos. And I thought that Pie's work was great there. Here there's more faces, even though we get plenty of automobiles and vehicles. There's a lot more panels dedicated to faces and expressions and reactions. So and the subject matter, if you may like Pie's style, but it may not be super fitting for a book like M.A.S.K. So I can see if anybody has any sort of apprehension about the way the book looks. But for me, it's weird. I had some of the figures. I had fun playing with my M.A.S.K. figures back in the day, but Pie is kind of sort of more of a pull for me on this book than the actual M.A.S.K. concept itself. Which could be
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, because for me, and I said this last. I mean, Pipar's art is a problem for me with this book.
Right. Yeah.
It's just too soft and rounded for me in a
Yeah.
book that's supposed to be about badass vehicles that look like they, that can and do transform into like super high tech weaponry.
It's almost like it's the style is as if they were adapting actual cartoon episodes and putting them in the comics. It's that soft and rounded kind of it's more animated than you might expect for a book like this.
Agreed. Yeah, but I mean, now that said, I really did enjoy the third issue. So I am enjoying like the storytelling. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said I hope that Pie's like not going to stick around after the first arc.
Okay.
Because like it's Energon, so I'm sure we're not. I mean, regardless of like, I don't know how it's selling well, and I assume it's like we're going to get a bunch more issues of it. So so I'm just I'm going to look forward to a different style of artist in this book. But since you are there mainly for Pie, if that happens, I guess you'll be bouncing.
Well, we'll see. I mean, because if Waters is telling a story that I really get involved in and want to see more about these characters, then I have no problem sticking around if the story is if the story's hitting me just right.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Let's see what else. Oh! It was a fun second issue, which had me feeling some kind of way because I'm feeling for our big Rocky friend. But Concrete Stars Over Sand #2 picks up right where the first issue left off because our pal Ron was struck by lightning and collapsed and was then had sand windswept over him. So Larry and so his cohorts could not find him. There was even a search party set out. Maureen, of course, is also she makes sure that the baby will be fine, and then she and Larry head out, and when that search bears no fruit, they get a whole search party going. There was some drama because the door to the camper didn't close all the way, and then when they return and they see the doors open, she starts flipping out because she's worried that somebody may have taken the baby. But yeah, you get the search party going. Nobody that again comes up empty. Eventually, Concrete Ron comes to, and he starts. But not sure why his hands are made of some sort of flexible stone. Has no idea why he feels the way he feels, and he's just he's got no recollection of what's going on, where he is, why he is. He starts wandering the desert, and had a shot of going in the right direction, but this would be a short series if that happened. And then we even get Maureen having a bit of a nightmare because if she needs Concrete, or at least needs his assistance in raising the baby, because she being human could lead to some issues trying to raise this child. But no, Chadwick, there's some I don't know why I didn't really kind of notice it in the first issue, but in the second issue it just seems to be, I'm getting a really strong P. Craig Russell vibe with the art, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, I have the old Dark Horse collection from the early Concrete stories, and Chadwick's style has you can still see the bones are there, the foundation is the same. I can recognize the figures, but the embellishing, the detail, the inking of the characters and the look of it has been slightly tweaked, and whatever Chadwick's doing in the process of whether he's penciling a little bit looser and then finishing tighter with inks, or if his pencils are super detailed and the inks are kind of just going over that, I don't know. But there's the art is, and it's still good, but the art is just a little different than the early days. But again, I mean, we're talking about decades between, not decades between stories, but I mean decades from when Concrete started to now. Obviously, there's going to be some growth and changes in your style in it, but it's still a Concrete book. It still looks like a Concrete book. But yeah, it's if you get anxious easily, if you kind of get overwhelmed, if you have empathy for characters, I can see this especially this issue. I could see it maybe kind of making you uneasy in spots, because I feel for Concrete. I can't say I know what he's going through. As far as I know, I've never been struck with amnesia, so I don't know how I'd react in certain situations. But I mean, this is, you're not human, and wandering the desert and just being in awe of your surroundings and unsure and frightened to a degree. Like that's unsettling as hell. And Chadwick's doing a great job of making me feel similar to what Ron's going through, just based on it. I mean, it's wordy. There's a lot to dig into here, but it's not a there's some drama here that I guess maybe I wasn't expecting, but it works, it fits. 2 issues in, it's shaping up to be a story I'll recommend, but I don't I'm getting anxious. I'm getting a little fidgety reading this, because I kind of feel sorry for Concrete, which might be weird to say, but that's just props to Paul Chadwick then, because he's writing and drawing a book that's making me feel. So yeah, I can't complain about that.
Dude, I mean, Chadwick doing Concrete. I mean, I could look at it. Could be 22 pages of him like cutting up mirepoix or like drawing dishes. I'm good. Like seeing him back at the drafting table drawing this wonderful character in this world. I don't need much. I'm pretty much just along for the ride. It just feels really like a gift that we're getting him to come back and do some more stories for us. But I think, to your point, the added bonus is, I think, so far so good. I think it is compelling. It is as quirky and heartwarming and intimate as the original. I think the main conceit for Concrete is that wonderfully sensitive, quirky human being trapped in this body of this, rock-like super being. And how do you convey as a storyteller that sensitivity and humanity when the corpus is exactly the opposite? And I think getting that in the series. So I don't know how old Paul is these days, but my man has not lost his fastball.
No, he's not.
So yeah, it just feels like a gift every time I open up these.
Agreed. Okay. I think. Yeah,
well, listen. Before you hold on, slow your roll,
dog.
No.
I mean, that's pretty much it for what I have on my list. I wasn't trying to say.
I'm saying slow your roll because I gotta know. Because you've been going at it. Where are you in Battlestar Galactica, and how are we feeling about it?
We were, I mean, I was going to kind of have a 1-2 punch, because obviously Stranger in Worlds is back. Third episode will be of the new season is on now, so I'll be watching this when we're done here. But it's actually, no, I don't know if I'll be watching that when we finish here. I may go back to BSG, because that's what I did last week. I wasn't in the right headspace to kind of just sit down and end the night with Star Trek, so I went back and just continued binging Battlestar Galactica before calling it a night, and then I watched Star Trek Friday. But I'm chugging right along. I am I'm in the 4th season.
Okay.
And I will tell you, without spoiling anything for anybody, for a show that's over 20 years old, I'm about to start the 11th episode of the 4th season. So when that's done, I've been directed to watch the webisodes and then finish the series. So I have, as I told Jason, when I started watching this series and then got really, really into it, I didn't realize how religious or spiritual the show or the characters are, or how integral that was to this mission. And that's not. It's not a condemnation. I thought it was going to be more.
Well, it was a condemnation. I mean, it was something that made you reticent.
Well, in the sense that I think I was taken aback, which I then said that, which is weird for me to say, considering that Deep Space Nine is pretty much the be all and end all for me, and the Cisco is, I mean, it's about prophets and spirits. So I mean, like, of all sci-fi shows, for me to like give any shade to Battlestar Galactica, then I got to check myself, because how am I going to pimp and tell everybody they got to watch Deep Space Nine if there are similar themes? Not it's not the same show, but still there are spiritual aspects to Deep Space Nine that are prevalent throughout almost all 7 seasons. So this Battlestar Galactica is different. I thought that, and there were even, what was great is there are everything is. I have no idea if Moore and Ike or anybody who was involved, if they had everything mapped out from start to finish. I don't know if they were like, we're going to just play it by ear and wing it, and if Sci-Fi keeps allowing us to continue for the next season, then we'll make more. Or if they were just like, these are the stories. This is the story we want to tell, however long it takes. This is the beginning, middle, and end. So I don't know if there were any swerves that originally, they were going to do one thing and then something happened where they had to pivot. But what I found fascinating as I've been watching is that there are no throwaway lines. There was one scene, I think it was the second season, where Leoben, they were I think it may have been Deanna and it may have been Deanna and Sharon or Deanna and Six. They mentioned that Leoben believes that everything the hybrid says is basically gospel. It's the prophecy. It will come to pass. Leoben listens to the hybrid and takes in everything the hybrid says and feels like that's leading them down the path that they're supposed to go on. And we then see the hybrid, and we're listening to what just is like almost like a stream of consciousness, like a word salad. Like the hybrid just keeps spewing things nonstop, and I thought back to what might have been considered a throwaway line about Leoben listening to the hybrid and taking everything it says. And yeah, because it kind of does as you see things start to play out and other characters are brought in to meet the hybrid or we just see scenes with the hybrid and the hybrid just starts, spouting things off. Leoben may have been right. And even characters that may have, you may have a preconceived notion about them, like Leoben, who has a thing for Kara and then when they're all on New Caprica and she's pretty much held hostage, there was never any assault. I mean, yes, obvious there were mentally there were things going on, but physically he and emotionally you could say, that could be even worse, but he wasn't he wasn't abusive to her physically, and this is one thing that always bugs me about shows like this, is that you would save so much time if you just said what the fuck you meant instead of these parables, instead of these rhymes or these riddles. Just say what you mean and cut to the chase, because him saying that Kara's supposed to lead everybody and do this or that, and it's like, so the viewer now, which is enjoyable as the show may be, we're waiting for that to actually come to pass, and it can be aggravating and it can be annoying, but it serves a purpose. But the show is an absolute blast. I don't know if I've said this about other things that I've consumed later in life, but I don't know if I'd be in the right mind space where I'm watching it when it was coming out. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much as I am now. Age comes wisdom and all that, so certain things in life have to happen, I guess, for me to view things differently or with fresher eyes. But this has been a lot of fun. And thank you for giving me the watch list, because I'd have been pissed if I watched the third season and then the way Paramount Plus has it, at the end of the third season, the last 2 episodes of that season, it's the Razor movie, and had I watched that at the end of the third season instead of when it actually chronologically makes sense in the story, I'd have felt some kind of way. So thank you for that. If you are new to it, don't watch it in the way Paramount Plus has it. Make sure you watch episodes 21 and 22 of the third season before the third season. But it's been there are some times where I might be scratching my head because even though they do a decent enough job explaining time jumps, because at this point they've been doing this they've been floating looking for Earth for a couple of years at this point, which is apparent based on Hera's growth and things like that. But or even Chief and Callie having a kid. But you have there are times where I'll watch something and I'm like, that kind of felt like it got brushed under the rug, like the whole mutiny, like Apollo pulling a gun on Teague. It's like, dude, like you should have been in the brig, you should have been court-martialed, but I mean, this is a different time, and there's more going on. You can't put your seasoned pilot in the brig when there's a war going on. I understand things like that. So, but there still seems certain moments or actions don't have repercussions where I felt like maybe they should have, or they were just kind of glossed over. Sure. But seeing Balter's growth and rise and fall and rising, that's amazing. And as manipulative as he can be, and just everything that he's gone through. Seeing the I was curious to know, since Rosalind was diagnosed with cancer early on, and it was progressing, I was curious. I wasn't sure if I was like, oh, okay, so this is sci-fi. So it was like, are they going to come across some creature, some alien, something that's going to either wipe the cancer away or allow her to continue on? Because I knew that she was part of later seasons, and I don't think she was a ghost. But that was neat, and that reveal and how that was found out. And I love Doc Hoddle. I would love to see more Doc Hoddle. I think he's a great fucking character. I love his bedside manner. He's a bright spot for me. Everybody does a fantastic job. Teague is such a prick, and what he has to go through on New Caprica is fucking heartbreaking. The Chief, I thought the Chief's a great character. Everybody's fantastic in it. Watching even Apollo and watching the changes he's gone through, and even in his love life and in his career. Shout out to Richard Hatch for they brought back the OG Apollo for as a character in the series. I just thought it's been great. I thought I love how the series with each season, the opening changes, but you have even when we have we have a countdown, not a countdown, but they keep a running tally of the number of survivors, and that changes almost at the beginning of every episode. When Starbuck meets a certain fate, which of course blew me away, Katie Sackhoff's name is no longer in the credits for a few episodes, and that was a nice touch, because normally if you're
Lawnmower doesn't fuck around, dude. He's got, like, obviously, as you know, the series means a lot to me. I think that there's, and a lot of what I want to talk to you about, I can't. The next 10 plus or whatever many episodes are, like, obviously a lot's gonna happen. So which will shape how you feel about the series, hopefully for the better, but again, I can't say until you see it, because there's a lot to be revealed. But a couple things I will say in advance of you. One of the reasons that the show is one of my favorites of all time, and why I've rewatched it and why I always come back to it, is that I think that Moore's attention to detail, like you said. Am I going to say that every plot point is buttoned up neatly where you're like, oh, no, but not for lack of an attempt. Like, you or I or anyone else that could quibble maybe with some of the things that end up happening or have happened, and you're like, maybe it's not exact, like it doesn't completely like close the loop with you as to how you saw it playing out or how you think it should have played out, but like he's not leaving anything untended. Like you're totally within the right of not necessarily loving and or agreeing with the way he chooses to wrap things up, but he tries to wrap everything. Second point on that, like he very much takes massive swings. And I was watching this like many at the same time that Lost was happening. And I still have love for Lost. I mean, that was some of the best TV ever at the time. But as the creators well admitted themselves, they were quite literally lost. They didn't expect it to be the hit it was, and so they really did fly by the seat of their pants. And I think it showed at points of that series where they kept giving you more tendrils of ideas without ever really paying off most of them. To me, this is just the opposite. Moore makes huge swings, and again, I'll leave it till you finish the whole thing. Do I think all the swings landed? No, not necessarily, but I love that he fucking just went for it, and I just think that like that's what sci-fi should be about, big ideas and just going for it, and he does that in the series like hugely. And for me, the payoff, like the grand finale of everything, like that's goated, as my 17-year-old say, goated. I think it is fucking brilliant and wonderful and whimsical and it's everything I love about storytelling, and I just was like, oh, you got me, dog. So yeah, I can't wait for you to get to that point. But since you are that far along now, I am curious, what did you think of the final five? Because we can get a little spoiler here.
I haven't seen all five.
No, you know four of the five. You know four.
Yes, I thought right. I was a little surprised, but in a good way. I didn't feel like, oh crap, they don't know what they're doing, or they're just there. I didn't think Vince Russo was writing this. I was just like, holy crap, that's wild to me, because we're obviously finding out more about Cylons, because every Cylon of the 7 models we've seen throughout the first 3 seasons, they all look the same, obviously, and they're all, we only know them as they appear right now, but obviously one of the 4 that's in the fleet that we find out has been known, has lived with
aged
these people. Yes. And as Adamas says, I've known you for 30 years. Like, you had hair when we met. Like so there are things about Cylons that as a viewer, and obviously as people in this universe, you don't know. And so we're all, so I didn't, since there wasn't any sort of absolute rule and nothing was detailed as to this is how it is and it can never change, we are just as surprised as the people going through it, and that's great. I can appreciate us all being surprised at the same time, the people living it and the people watching it, and each one was unique, because one is just part of the administrative cabinet. One is 2 of them are part of the crew. One was on Caprica and was rescued, and by all means, like each one of them, well, 3 in particular, had mad-ons for Cyclones. They were so anti-Cyclone and Cyclones, and you just the fact
You're
that
adorable, by the way. It's Cylon, but it's
Cylon. Right. Thank you. Cyclone. What? Jesus Christ, Cylon. And I keep seeing it as I'm saying it. I see CYLON. Idiot. So, but yeah, every time I see so to now find out that they're Cylons, and after while waging a war against them, it's It's wild.
And
Yeah,
and that's the thing. See, and that's like you're touching like, and this is what I was saying. Like ultimately, and again, this will be a filling conversation after you finish the series. But like, there are like I remember when it was coming out and it was sort of in the zeitgeist because I'm a hype beast. Everyone was talking about it all the time, and there were things about like as the mysteries are getting revealed that people be like, "Oh, that's stupid! Like it's a MacGuffin," and it's like, and maybe listen, I wasn't in the writers' room. Maybe some of it is like perfect example, Ty aging. Like after you find out the final 4 of the final 5, and Ty's one of them, people are like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense." And it's like, and to Moore's credit, before the series is over, all of those things you think don't add up, he gives you an explanation for it. Now, again, everyone is fully within their rights to not like the explanation, think that it was weak sauce. Like that's just storytelling choices that may or may not work for a fan. Like that's fine. But like I love that he does attempt to button it all up. Like your point. Like it is acknowledged why Ty's able to age. We get that explanation. We get an explanation for why, to your point, we know that there are millions of copies of the other models, but we only ever see one of each of these, right? For the most part, we find out why they don't remember being Cylon, and we find out like all of these things aren't random, and like to my mind, when the series is over, I was like, that's fucking 4D chess. I'm like, no, it is. There's one thing that happens in the final, like, however many episodes you have left. One reveal that I personally side-eyed a bit. I was like, all right, like just one aspect of one thing, which again, I'll be vague until you see it, but like, where I'm curious to get how you react to it. But other than that, considering this show's like got 100 reveals, like I was like, oh yeah, you guys done like you did. So yeah, I love the fucking show. I think it's great. Like every character that's on the show, like I feel like I just know, like I have vivid memories. Like there were very few superfluous characters, like they all had really interesting arcs. And many of them end up, dying. I mean, it's a war.
Yes.
But like it's a really, I mean, for a show there's two aspects to it. Like ultimately, I think the show is about humanity, right? That's really what the show's about. And then to your point, I do think the show is also about faith, and that is the interesting part to me, because you mentioned to me while you were still, I think, early in season 3, the whole thing of like the faith thing. I'm like, this may derail that because it only gets more faith based, like as it goes along. Like it's all about the faith, right? It's all basically all about the belief of humanity and Cobalt. It's like they lean into it like more. It's and to your, as you know, I mean, I'm an atheist. Like I don't find, obviously I don't ascribe any personal value, faith or belief in that way. Although I've always acknowledged that it is a powerful thing for people that do believe. But I'm glad that it's working, because when you brought it up like a week or two back, I was like, I'm like, but much like with me, I was like, yeah, it is faith based, but not in a bad way. Like,
but it's not the 700 Club.
Way,
yeah,
right. In a way that like, and I also appreciate that. I mean, you're dealing with sci-fi, so like you have to be careful with how you use faith, because it can very much be a MacGuffin, right? But then it's sci-fi, so like I kind of think it's okay. Like it's okay to like have crazy shit happen because it's sci-fi. Like all of our sci-fi has like shit that kind of just happens, right? Like Star Wars, right? Like it's a fucking universe with billions of planets, and like Luke ends up meeting his dad. You know what I mean? Like you have to kind of allow for like those like cosmic karmic things to be a part of these stories sometimes, and just accept it and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because like that's like, yes, in its most like academic approach, you could argue that that is a storytelling trope that they use to get from point A to point B. But then I'm like, yeah, it is, but like it's a cool one if it's done well. And also, all stories have tropes that get you from point A to point B. Like that's the nature of storytelling. Like you, right? Like you, like at some point, all things are what are. Like there are only so many ways to tell a story, you know. And so, like I said, I'm being vague about, but like there are things that there are choices that Moore makes that I think are just ballsy, and I'm here for it. And you know, like I told you offline, like I didn't know that he was the guy behind For All Mankind and Star City, and now that I know that, I gotta watch them because
Yeah.
I think the dude is just a special writer.
The there's I who's to say, you know, the gods can't be aliens, but it's there are I was Callie was pissing
Well,
me off.
you know who didn't like this show?
Who?
The Christian conservatives did not like this
Oh,
show.
well, that's
They did not like Battlestar Galactica when it's coming out. Yeah.
why am I not surprised?
Yeah.
I was feeling some kind of way about Callie when after the new Caprica events and then her spewing her nonsense before she found out about her husband. But the I didn't shed a tear basically when Tori did what she had to do. The and as far as Lost, yes, that's another show that I binged long after it had already left the airs, and I'm one of the, but I know people also say warned me not to watch the last season of Fringe, and I loved that last season. So I mean, same thing with Lost. I was in it until the end, and I understand why people feel some kind of way about how that series wrapped up. But as far as in context, and even though it may have strayed from where it started, I was fine with it, and I may have also been, you know, I was ready to tap out by the time it wrapped up because it went on
just
for
to
a
be clear,
long
not to
fucking
cut you
time.
off, but the thing for me about Lost, and again, not that I need to relitigate a show that, you know, was one of the biggest hits of all time and, you know, wrapped up 15 years ago, but I actually liked the end of Lost. Like I liked the finale, which a lot of people hated. Like I actually thought that was a pretty cool way to end it. I much like Game of Thrones more. Like I didn't like the journey that to get there. I thought that the last season and a half, and then really going back even further than that, like I thought they gave us so many
Yeah, no,
mysteries that piqued
that's
our, and
fair.
they never, and they paid off very few of them ever.
You're right.
And yes, and so and yes, you could say that the way that they handled the finale was like sort of excused that. I don't agree. Like if they had given me answers to like half of the journey and then still did the finale the way it was, I don't think it would change the impact of the finale at all. And so that's where I was like, you just gave me lots of things that I had been thinking for years about, well, what's up with this thing and what's up with this thing. We never really got any payoff, right? And so yeah, so that's where I stand with that. Like I just
That's fair.
But to your point, like the actual finale itself, I was kind of with you. Some people, I actually thought it was pretty cool. Like I'm like, oh no, that actually makes sense to me. Like I think, like I like that choice that they made to wrap it up. I
Yeah.
just didn't like the journey to get there.
And as I found out this afternoon, and then I shared the link with you. Next week, August 11th, there will be a new release, complete series Battlestar Galactica on Blu-ray. I think it's like at least 11 discs. And it does look like it includes the webisodes. It includes the plan. It includes the unedited extended version of Razor. So I have a feeling I'll splurge, get myself an early birthday present, and get the series, because I don't know what it is about the app on our LG TV. It's fine if I watch Paramount Plus on my phone. It's fine if I watch it upstairs on the I think it's a Samsung upstairs. But the Paramount Plus app on the LG TV downstairs is janky as fuck. And I make changes constantly. I tell it not to play audio on the previews, and I constantly change the closed captioning font, and I'll turn the TV off when I go back to watch Battlestar Galactica tonight. Now, the preview will have audio, and the closed captioning box will be the ugly ass font that I keep trying to change it from. So there's something up with the app. I'm not, but and every time I try to, it's also out of sync with the closed captioning, so that I'll hear them say something, and then I'll see some of what they said. But and it's hinky when it comes time to pause and rewind if I miss something. So I at this point I want the fucking physical media just so that I can enjoy it without streaming it or loss of quality or anything like that. Plus, it's also it is because it is a show. I think I can kind of see from like either the second or third season or so. They go from like standard definition to like almost high def. There is a change in the technology and the filming of it, so that improves. But yeah, it as far as that aside, the story, the whole journey, seeing the characters and who lives, who dies, and how serious things are, and the forgiveness, and because obviously with so few people left and needing as many pilots. Yes, so the person who tried to assassinate me, I still need to use their talents because we're still in a war. We still have to look for food, water, shelter. We're still looking for Earth. I can't afford for the person who tried to kill me to stay in the brig. And that feels real. I mean, it's weird for me to say, somebody who can't hold a grudge and doesn't forgive often. It's interesting to see a character like Bill Adama, who isn't a man of faith, and but has changed enough because of the people in his life, the crew that he considers a family, and the woman who he falls in love with, and her journey, and how faith has kind of changed her life in her later years, as now that she's been, just because she was lucky enough to be the 80th person in line and the only person surviving, so now she's president. It's insane. And that was the other thing. I had it on. I was watching it downstairs. Renee was walking through the living room, and Adam is on the screen. She's like, "Oh," she's like, "Wow, he looks good. I haven't thought about him in a minute." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I mean," and I'm like, granted, I'm reminding her that this is, a scene from 22 years ago, but still hasn't changed all that much, except maybe getting a little older. But she's like, "No, he looks good. I haven't seen Edward James Olmos in a second." So yeah, no, that was nice to see. But I mean, and because there's a Miami Vice connection that she has that not many people are aware of. But there's a but the show is like I said, I once we're done here, I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna clean the kitchen. I might, whether I swing the kettlebell or not, I'm gonna at least finish this episode so that I can watch the webisodes and then go back. I don't know if I'll finish the series this weekend, but likely I will have the series done plus the plan by the time we talk next week. That's my goal.
Nice. All right, I'm here for it.
And yeah, and the first two episodes of Strange New Worlds have been absolutely crazy. The first episode was a wacky, not wacky in a good way, but a time travel episode where they go back like 65 million years into the past. We see dinosaurs. There's a great little throwaway line with the Doctor Who connection, which was amusing. But last week's episode was kind of was horror themed, and that was freaky, and that was that I don't know how to take that, and it was, there was a lot of Captain Kirk, there was a lot of James T. Kirk. He's not Captain yet, But again, I may not have been so impressed with Paul Wellesley when he showed up initially on Strange New Worlds as Sam's brother James Kirk, but because of how they introduced him as Kirk in this series, whereas he wasn't the William Shatner Kirk we come to know and love, because it was an alternate version of Kirk in those stories, whereas now he's actually the same Kirk that Spock becomes friends with. They were smart. He's grown on me. Where if he was the William Shatner Kirk from the start, that didn't fit right. But because we were given curveballs at the start, and now we're getting the character that will eventually mature and grow to be the captain of the Enterprise. That is, he's, like I said, he's grown on me. So I'm fine with that. I don't know. It is only the 4th season. We have one more season after this, but the past 2 episodes haven't really been heavy on Enterprise stuff. It's been about characters and unique situations. So I don't know what tonight's episode's about, but I'll find out soon enough. But yeah, I'm just glad it's back. I think, as I love Discovery, I've loved what we've gotten of Starfleet Academy so far. The 3rd season of Picard, aka the 8th season of Next Generation, was fantastic. But Strange New Worlds is that's ticking off all the boxes for me. I am so in love with this show, and whether it's Pike or Ortegas or you and Uhura, Celia is a fucking goddess. This woman, the actress who plays Uhura, is stunning, and I have to rewind whenever she's in a scene because I don't hear anything that anybody's saying. It's I love the show, and it bumps me out that we only get 10 episodes, but they're so good. And yeah, so Stranger Worlds is back. I'm happy about that. And there's there's going to be a new Star Trek series by IDW in a couple of months. That 7 of 9 is the captain, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it because it looks just the preview pages I was into. So I figured it's been a minute since we had a new Star Trek series, and it's a Star Trek series that's not based on anything current. So it's not based on the Kelvinverse movies. It's not based on the any of the original television shows. It's just it's something new. So I figure I'm going to at least check out the first couple of issues, and some of those covers look amazing too. So yeah, so I'm psyched for that. So yeah, I'm loving some science fiction these days, and yeah, so thank you for letting me know that Paramount Plus has Battlestar Galactica, because I think it was on Peacock for a minute, and I wasn't going to watch it on there. I wasn't watching it on there, but I know that, I mean, our version of Peacock has ads, so I wasn't going to sit through that. But yeah, thank you for finally reminding me about it, giving me the nudge, and yeah, I am on one hand, I'm kicking myself because it's taken me this long, but on the other hand, I think I'm enjoying it much more now than I would have had I watched it when it was coming out. So yeah.
Show.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, let's bring this puppy home.
In your travels, as we always do. But before we do that, I want to remind everybody, again, cheapgraphicnovels.com, Omnibus, trades, hardcovers, absolutes, epic collections, everything and anything you want in a collected format. Chances are you'll find it at cheapgraphicnovels.com. And yeah, always check out their specials, Nick and Dents, which are neither, and their seasonal specials. As always, thank you, Max. Patreon.com/11o'clockcomics.com. You've got 3 tiers to choose from. One of them will get you Slack access, and where you can hang out with us and tell us what comics you're getting every Wednesday, what's going on in your life, health and fitness, memes, humor,
What you think
sports.
about Star Galactica?
What you know? So it's there's a lot for Slack. There's a lot of fun to be had when you sign up on the Patreon. In your travels, this is a new series from Image under the Tiny Onion imprint. It is written by Aman Vellani, who you may know as Kamala Khan. Art by Mariana Ignazi. Colors by Jordie Bellaire. Lucas Gattoni is the letterer, and seems to be the only man on the creative team. Dylan Todd is your designer. Eric Harburn is your editor. But Chachu takes place in 1979, Los Angeles, California, where a young woman is looking for someone, and we get a rundown on. She's narrating the story. We get a rundown on various family members and their feelings on this person that Lila is looking for. And I thought that, because I didn't know what Chachu meant, which is the title of this book, Chachu number 1 is what I'm talking about. Lila is looking for someone, and she's looking for her Chachu, and which is her uncle, her father's brother, and because at first I'm reading this and I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh, she's just looking for her father, but no, as she's running down her family, her father was previously mentioned, I believe. So, she the first issue is an interesting setup. I think I'm not sure if Iman has written much, maybe not comics, but has written anything else other prior to this. There are some, and what's great is that, like, she's listed as the writer, and that's it. It's not like, and Scott Snyder and
Right,
James
right,
Tynion.
right. Like
It's just
ideas,
her.
yeah.
So there's no assist unless it's from an editor or somebody not being credited. But so there might be. It doesn't. I don't think it's clunky. Some of the and again, some of the dialogue, I don't know if she's borrowing some of this or if she thinks that maybe this is how people may have spoken in 1979. But as far as setting things up with introducing the characters, we have Lila, we have her uncle, we have her uncle's wife who beats feet. Actually, she rear ends. She's leaving her house, and as she's backing up, there's a comedy of errors where her uncle sees Lila, and so Lila, because Lila's staking him out while she's in her car, and it looks like she accidentally kind of puts the car in gear and starts driving, and as she's pulling away, she T-bones her uncle's wife's car, but she doesn't stop. She just kind of gives a look and peels off and drives away. So Lila's like, okay, well, that's interesting, but I mean, both her headlights are busted. She's got a busted grill, but that's when her uncle comes over, And he's like, anything? Do you need me to call an ambulance, or you want to get your head checked out because you might have gotten concussion? But she's like, no, you're I'm Lila, and you're my chachu. And he's just like, oh fuck, like he wasn't expecting to see her. And she's wants answers. She wants to know about him. There's she's I don't know quite yet why she was looking for her uncle. Not sure if she's just trying to get the family together, but she does find her uncle. They talk for a little bit. She's supposed to go to school. She's supposed to be in school. Like school starts the next day, but she instead went to go look for her uncle. While she spends the night there and gets woken up at gunpoint. Gets brought down to the living room where her uncle is on the couch. There's a man behind him with a gun pointed at his head, and there's a dude sitting on a coffee table. And the dude sitting at the coffee table apparently is her uncle's father-in-law, looking for his daughter, and who isn't around. And apparently, she goes to visit her grandmother at the beginning of every month. But Dad already checked, and she ain't there. So it's like, you're gonna find my daughter, and everything will be fine. But if you don't, then she's gonna get hairy. So he's like, homeboy's like, listen, I can't find her. She took the car. And he's like, there's a car I see in your driveway, and which of course is Lila's car. So he's like, okay, so go look for your wife. And so Lila decides to go with, because she's like, you're not driving my car, so you might as well tell me where we're going. And so they're going to head to Vegas. And there's a great 2 pages, just 8 panels on each page where she's kind of grilling her uncle for a little bit. And he gives some sass back to her, but they're heading towards Vegas, and we find out something that happened the previous night with his wife after she had left California, and that also has to do with apparently she's a movie star, and so Cleo Chandler was rescued by another actor, Neil Newman, after she was mugged, with her husband nowhere in sight, according to the tabloids. So they're setting something up. But yeah, I don't quite know what to make of this yet. There's enough here where I'm interested. I want to see where these characters are going. She's not Brian Azzarello, but again, if this is her first comic, I don't expect her to be. But there's and props, for not doing like a superhero comic. Like, she's just doing a straight up. This is a kind of a mystery type book, with a character who I'm guessing is based on her ethnic background and what she's familiar with. So yeah, I thought it was it's. I'm dancing between like fun and interesting. I didn't dislike it, and I know that that's the greatest compliment ever. I like the book. I'm coming back for the second issue, but I don't quite know yet what really to make of it. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, giving it a shot. I like the art. I think I think Ignazi's art is fitting for this story. I like the way the characters look. I'm digging the colors with a lot of the orange. I dug it. I did. So I want to see where we're going with it. And since James is kind of like, backing it, apparently he sees something there. So I'll stick with it for now. But yeah, in your travels from Image Comics and Iman Vellani and Mariana Ignazi and Jordie Bellaire, it's Chachu.
Nice. I'm gonna keep it short here. In your travels, I hope you all have continued along the ride because I've been talking about it, but it did wrap up, and that is Usagi Yojimbo Kaito 84, written by friend of the show Zach Rosenberg, drawn by friend of the show Jared Gullum. Um, of course, characters created by friend of the show Stan Sakai. Um, this was terrific, man. I mean, 5 issues. Cullum's watercolors are just perfect for this. Reminder to those who may have forgotten, this was basically fan art, fanfic turned into reality. Jared has for years been doing really awesome Usagi commissions and had become quite known for that. Zach is a die-hard Stan Sakai mark from way back. And through just the fates, they were able to meet him and pitch him, and he said, sure, why not? Which is a really big deal because in all of Usagi Yojimbo's incredible multi-decade history, these are the first gentlemen to write and draw the character in a Usagi book that wasn't Stan Sakai. So, talk about how much he trusted them. But yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, the story is essentially, it takes place before, long after Usagi is gone. Kaito is a descendant, but he's he's basically a street kid, like a kind of a con man, thief type of a dude. Just kind of trying to get by, and he gets pulled into this scenario of this evil demon force named Jay, and it's basically a posse book, which I love. It's Kaito and Tomoe, who's a detective. At first is his adversary, but then they become allies. And Jen and a few others, and they basically go on the adventure to try and save the day. And they have to first overcome the cops, and then they have to figure out the quest, and then they ended up going to a hidden shrine in a temple where they have 3 different trials and pass them, and then ultimately they have a big issue 5 showdown with Jay. And it was awesome. And I don't think it's spoilers to say that this was so well received that they've already greenlit a second series featuring Kaito. So that's going to happen. So really, really enjoyed it. Just can't say enough good words about it. And it's a book that everybody involved, you can just feel the love. Not for a paycheck. This absolutely just adore these characters and this world. So in your travels, if you haven't already, do please check out Usagi Yojimbo Kaito 80. Say what?
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were muted. All right. Thank you, everybody. We will be back next week. Hopefully, all 3 of us. We'll see, but maybe we'll find out in 2 days ahead of time. But that is it for this week. Thanks for listening. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate your time. You could have been listening to anything, but you're listening to us, and we love you for that. So we will we'll be back with more comics. Have a great night.
Hell yeah. Damn Skippy, baby.
That's it for that one.